Hey everybody, welcome back. Jeremiah Valpatic here with Michigan Outdoorsman. Today we are looking at a product I was sent to review. It's going to be this Teslong borescope here in front of me. So stay tuned. So recently Teslong reached out to me and asked if I would review this borescope for them. In front of me here is some of my three more popular rifles. These aren't the three most popular, but I didn't want to have too many of the same caliber. I have a lot of 22s in small caliber, I guess. But starting out and having the most lead time, if you want to call it that, on a barrel, these are some of my heavy hitters, I guess. I've had a lot of rifles that are much older than these that I've shot a lot, but not near as much as these. So going from right to left, what I've got is my Bergara B14R. This is a 22 caliber rifle. I've got a lot of rounds to this gun. I bought it pretty recently here. You can probably find the YouTube video for that where I did a review on it as far as the initial impressions, and I think I did a 2,000 round update probably a few months back. If I remember, I'll try to link the video up on the screen there for you guys. But this right here, I would have to say has got 3 or 4, maybe even more, 1,000 rounds through it. I'd have to try to count because I do keep track. I do have some tallies. So this has got a lot of lead time on it. And I did have an issue with this one early, which I will get back to. But before I get too far off sidetracked here, we've got my 308. This is a custom rifle. This probably has close to 300 rounds on it, so not near as much as these two. I used to shoot it a lot more than what I do now, but I've just been having a lot of fun lobbing lead out to the same distance almost with 22. So I have taken this gun out to 1,000 yards with good results. We need to go back and do it again, a buddy of mine and me. But this rifle here has got, we'll say 300-ish rounds on it, okay? And I don't think I've cleaned it since the last time I shot it, which has probably been close to a year ago. So we do need to bring it out and shoot it again. And I'm going to see what kind of condition the barrel looks like having copper fouling, okay? Something kind of tucked in here you guys can't really see. This is my Glock 26. This has got probably over 2,000 rounds on it. The first 1,000 were shot within, I might say 2 weeks. Within 2 weeks, maybe even a week of owning it, just because I wanted to see if it would fail or not. This is their 5th gen Glock 26. It's my concealed carry handgun, and so it's got a lot of rounds through it, but not a ton of rounds. It's just enough to be broken, basically. The trigger feels a lot better, by the way, after you shoot that many rounds through them. So there's a G26. Then I've got, as you guys are probably all familiar with this rifle, this is my FX Pantera. This is chambered in 22 caliber. This has got over 7, it's actually probably got over 8,500 rounds through it right now. Because when I switched it over to the 40 grain slugs, I shot well over 1,000 trying to figure out the speed I wanted to shoot, and I was just having fun with it. I bought a ton of ammunition, so I just shot it all up. So we'll say 8,000 plus, 3,000 to 4,000 plus, over 300 and over 2,000, okay? We're gonna look through all these barrels, look at them. These two guns here will have some copper fouling we can look at. This gun, I don't think I've ever cleaned it. Not even once. I can't remember if I have. I don't believe I have, okay? I've wiped it down and stuff, but I don't think I've cleaned it. I used to clean this gun every time I shot it, but I never removed copper fouling. I never had any solvents. I always just ran a brush through them. This gun here I have tried to clean recently, and I'll show you why through the scope cam. And then this gun I've cleaned probably at the beginning of the year, as far as like after I owned it, I guess. But I've learned through some other people that keeping these leaded is the better way to shoot them, and just only cleaning the chamber when you get a copper ring, or not a copper ring, a carbon ring. So we're gonna see what condition my barrel's in. This is probably has, I would say this has got 1,000 rounds through it by now without a cleaning, and it's still doing well. So these are the conditions of the rifles. We're gonna look through them and see what we can find. Okay, so let's go over what we get inside the box. This is the model NTG200H. Focus and fold. This is not exactly how I received it in the box, because I've used it a little bit, but what we've got is the foldable borescope, and they make a couple of ones, flexible and everything else, but here is the connection point. It's actually got a little bit of like a spring-loaded, I mean, they got something in there to help pull it back in, but you got some threads there, and you just screw these two together at these two knurled joints here. And then you've got this ruler, which you probably can't see very well. I don't know if you can see those little ruler marks right there, but they're every inch increments. They actually have hashes probably every 1/4 inch, but the bold lines here and here, those are all inch increments. This is a 26-inch long borescope, okay, so it's quite a bit. It's long, but it's not quite long enough for some of my guns, believe it or not, because some of my guns have a 27-inch barrel. But here is the camera, and you can see it's threaded, and you get this right here. You open that up and you get all your different caliber reflective mirrors. The smallest one's 22 caliber, and I think they go all the way up to 40 caliber. Yep, 40 caliber. And I'm not sure if you can use a 22 caliber for a 30 caliber barrel. Maybe we could try that. I don't think it really makes that big of a difference as long as you can reflect and see what you need to see. But I like how they come and stored in that foam that way. It's really nice. So you're just gonna have to go, because nothing's marked, and just know that the smallest one's 22 caliber, which we will use, and it's got a little red marker on that. I'm not entirely sure what that's for. And then we can close the lid again. We know the next one's 243, and then 30 caliber is the third size up. So if I'm gonna look, that's probably 243, and 30 caliber would be here. So they're not marked anywhere that I've seen, so you just have to kind of guess. I'm not gonna say it's a negative. It's just something you have to use some common sense for, which we do lack in America, so it's probably a good thing. Some people get to use their brain every once in a while. You get this nice braided cable here. This end here will go to your borescope, and it's got some male threads on it. Then you've got an adjustable, it's almost like a lamp switch here. So you can adjust, it's not quite the on and off like a lamp switch, but it's an adjustable light output. Then you got a couple different connectors here. You've got your USB to micro USB. You put this adapter on here, which goes to USB-C or micro USB Type C or whatever they call that. This here was on the cleaning or the borescope. Slides on, then when you fold it, it just snaps into there. I took that off so I could get as deep into the barrel as possible. Then they also give you some kind of rubber. It's almost like a bore protector or something that kind of helps guide it and center it into the chamber probably. I found it unnecessary. And then also included is, this is going to be a quick how-to guide. You're going to get, this is basically a quick how-to. This is some QR codes to get the app, so you can use it on your Android device or Apple if you get the adapter for Apple. If you want to return it, you just select and it gives you some information how to return it. And this is kind of all your camera safety stuff. Don't look into the light, you know, blah, blah, blah. So we have all that information in here. It comes in this nice little cardboard case with some fitted foam. I will say off the bat, this has not been an issue, but I don't like this. And that is going to be this cable here, because it folds like that. And at some point, I'm sure that's going to develop a tear, because that's a sharp edge of metal up against that cable that runs to the camera. So you've got this whole borescope here. This knurled spot here towards the end of the camera is how you focus. You just turn that in and out. So without further ado, we're going to plug this into my laptop. I will actually show you guys that part so you guys can learn how to do it, I guess, because it is inside the instruction manual, but I'll show you guys just in case it makes it easier for you guys. So the first step is to take whatever adapter you're going to use, which I'll be using micro USB Type C, and you find your port on your computer and you plug it into that. Computer should recognize it. Unravel the cable. And then you got this red dot here. It's going to go and line up with this groove there. Put those two together. You're going to thread it on. Now from here, you're going to open up your camera. I'm going to go to my start, whatever you want to call it. I'm not computer savvy, so forgive me if I make somebody really mad. Camera, and then you're going to hit open. Now, because I've had this thing on there, it already recognizes the camera. You can kind of see I might have some glare from the lights and stuff. But what you have to do normally is you have to, depending on what you're using it on, of course, but this, I had to change my camera view because I have a camera right here. So I tap on my camera, front facing. If I slide this over, because I like having it blocked, there is us looking at everything. Slide that over, goes back to black. So it's using my front facing camera. I just click flip camera, and then it automatically reverts to my Teslong borescope, okay? So then right off the bat, as soon as it's plugged in, I've got this. See that camera right there? Yeah, so I got the light on, and you can see my phone videotaping. We're going to thread on our .90-degree mirror. You do not have to use a 90-degree mirror. You can actually just throw this into your gun barrel just the way it is, okay? So now, before we get started, I've got the laptop showing what we need to see. I'm going to open and make sure my rifle's clear, which I already know it is, but bolt open, practice some safety. Okay, so now we're ready to start. I've got my 22 set up, and I've just got this light. You didn't even turn the light off. But I've just got this light set to about medium brightness, I think. And I played around with the focus, which I've already showed you guys is this little knurled part right here, but we'll just mess it up just for fun. And you're going to take it and load it into your muzzle. And right now I'm going to check my crown. I want to see what my crown looks like. Really, I can't see anything, okay? It's all blurry. So we're going to take that focus, we're going to turn it one way or the other until we get it focused just right. Yeah. Then we can spin this thing. And we're just checking for a crisp edge on that crown. I want to make sure it doesn't get anything built up. It's not knocked in with burrs or anything crazy. And you can see my lands and grooves of rifling. So this borescope can almost scare you because it scares me a little bit when I see my barrel and just how it looks. You know, do I need to clean it? What have you? Did you see those little pockets of stuff? I'm not sure what that is. If it's because I got waxes and lube on these bullets. Is it lead deposits? Is it lead chunks? Because this ELE ammo is coming out kind of hot. Is the lead breaking down? Is it just dust from sitting in a gun case? I'm sure a lot of it can be answered by swabbing your barrel and seeing what comes out on your rag. But everything looks really good. Biggest thing with the 22 that I want to check for is my carbon ring. Do I have one? So I'm going to set my focus again real nice and good. Real nice and sharp. That light keeps on changing on me. Apparently my computer timed out. So we play with this a little bit, get our focus set. As we're getting closer and closer to the chamber, you see this gray stuff here. That's actually powder. You can see more powder getting built up. So we're leading closer and closer, but I don't use any copper. coated bullets or copper plated bullets. I'm not sure what that little chunk right there is. But yeah, you can see that transitions. Gets a lot darker. So now we're just getting into the throat area. So here is basically where my rim edge sits, because my bullet's already engaged the rifling. The lead will actually engage the rifling when it's chambered. So my lead's sitting right in here somewhere. So that's my chamber throat area. I feel like if we had a carbon ring, we should see it right in here. And that could be it there, that little dark ring right there. It's not really pronounced. I don't think it looks bad. I've had it, when I first cleaned this rifle, I shot 2,000 rounds through it of CCI standard velocity. And I noticed I was starting to have some accuracy issues compared to what it normally was. I cleaned this rifle and it all went away. So I probably had a small carbon ring getting built. Here is the end of my chamber. Right where my bullets load into. I'm pretty sure this is all just wax and stuff. But the cool thing with this, using your laptop, is if you're not sure and you need to ask a pro, because like somebody like me, I don't have a lot of experience, I'll come over here and I can take a picture of it. Now I've got that picture to show somebody. And I'm sure on your phone you can screenshot it or do something, and maybe it uses the same functions. But so that's the 22 with roughly 1,000 rounds through it. I'm not seeing anything crazy, but I'm not a professional. So up next is the 22 caliber Panthera. I figured might as well do all the 22 calibers together while I have the mirror adapter on there. Now this is a 27-inch barrel, so my bore scope actually will not get to the chamber. As you can see, I'm ending about right here. I have about another inch left. I've already looked at this barrel with this, and I can't see my chamber spot, which is kind of sad, but it is what it is. So I play with the lighting again. I'm going to turn my light up just a touch. And right now we are looking at the muzzle end. Right there is my crown. Let me set some focus here. I think that's all lead buildup right there. This is an air gun, so there is no powder getting burnt. But it's a softer lead, so I think it can get squished pretty easily. So we shouldn't see any powder burns or copper. Definitely no copper, but we shouldn't see any powder burns or fire cracking or anything. But this barrel, the rifling that's on it is actually different. They rifle these barrels from the outside. They press the rifling into them. They're very thin pencil barrels. So the rifling is not as pronounced as the Bergara. You can see it. You can still see some stuff. I don't know if that's lead or what that is, if it's just some dirt from lead. Got some scratches right there, some gouges of some sort. The barrel looks really good. It's got this really shiny, hazed over look. And I'm just turning this slowly while looking down the barrel. It kind of looks like I'm just racing through there, but I'm not. So this is what an air gun barrel looks like with just lead being thrown through it. I'm not sure what all that brass looking stuff is. Wish I knew. This has got a 1 in 16 twist, just like the 22 caliber would. Now, I guess we're not going to see it on this. I think I have it on another clip here. I'll show if I still have it. But when I looked through this barrel the last time, I actually had lead in this barrel, like little slivers of lead. I think it was from the slugs I was shooting. They were going so fast. I don't know if they're breaking apart in the barrel or something, but I had a lot of lead fragment in this barrel that was actually plastered to the walls. I switched different brands and different weights, and it seems like it's cleaned itself out. These barrels I've been told are self-cleaning by Matt Dubber, so I would think that you don't need to really clean them, obviously. Just get the lead dust out maybe occasionally. Okay, so there's something right there. That's a lead spot right there. Yep, right there we are. There's some lead. It was actually a lot worse. I used to see a lot of it. So slugs I'm shooting now are helping. So it's all right in this last few inches of the barrel. So what we can do with this now, with this measuring scale on the borescope, is we can measure at what point we see all this. So I'm going to pull this out. We're right at the very tip of that muzzle. My laptop battery's about ready to die, so that's why it's on energy saving mode. I do have it plugged in, but still not enough to take it off of energy saving mode. So yeah, we got some lead there. And I'm not sure if it's because I set my ammunition too fast for the type of lead that I have for the slugs. But without this borescope, I wouldn't have noticed it was there. Well, I noticed I was having some bad accuracy. So I'm willing to bet it's all from that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below if you guys have seen this before on air guns, if you have any. Can't tell you how long it's been in there, but I have had some accuracy issues here recently. Switching ammunition has helped a little bit, but I still don't have the accuracy I used to, so I gotta figure that out. So now we'll turn this off. We'll switch over to the 30 caliber. So one thing I want to add is these mirrors are very easy to clean. If you look in the reflection, let me see if I can get this camera to focus here by turning this dial. You know, if you see any spots on this camera or on this mirror, turn the light on. You can wipe it with your shirt real easy. It's not hard to clean these mirrors. I just take my thumb in my shirt and just wipe that lens. It's really simple. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take this Glock and try to look through this barrel. It's going to be a little tricky because of just how long this thing is, but we'll start it in here. I'm going to lay this gun down real quick so I can get this thing to focus first. But I can already see some copper, which I think is cool. Now it's a little dim, so we'll turn the light up a little bit. Make sure you guys can see that somewhat okay. But that's what my barrel on my Glock looks like after 2,000 rounds. That actually might be rust right there. It looks like rust. That focus set a little better. And that rifling's different. It's not as thick and as wide as the 22s. It's definitely a faster twist. Yeah, look at that. Powder burning right there, carbon. And right there is our chamber. So you can see how clean it is going into the gun. You know, that's where your brass is sitting. Right there's about where it's going off, and right there's right where the rifling starts, the throat area. See, they got a little chamfer on that lead in there. So, not cleaned, about 2,000 rounds through it, if I remember correctly. And that's just what it looks like. Don't see any fire cracking or anything of the barrel. This is their marksman barrel on the Glock. We'll just try to zoom in a little better, and maybe we'll turn up the light a little bit and see if we see anything. I guess the light's all the way up. I'm not seeing any fire cracking or anything. Oops, I just exited out of that somehow. I don't know how my camera did that. But yeah, could be clean. Doesn't look terrible if you ask me, I guess. Just some scorching and stuff going on. So now let's move to the 308. I'm really curious about this one because of how long it's been since I've last shot it. Okay, so the 308 is up. Once again, we've got another dirty barrel to look through. I'm going to measure this real quick because, yeah, we're right at 26 inches with that muzzle brake. Now, I threaded that muzzle brake and added it on myself, and I'm kind of curious to see what kind of a finish my muzzle brakes leave after I machine them. So let's check out my muzzle brake here real quick too, okay? I haven't even shot this gun since I put the brake on. I just put the brake on here recently. All I did is I chamfered the nose here coming in, so you can see a slight chamfer right there. I can't remember if I used a drill or something. It wasn't anything fancy. I just spun it up on a lathe. Let's get this thing focused. This is kind of my finish work as a machinist maybe, okay? So you guys can judge me as hard as you want. I don't care. So that's the chamfer on my muzzle brake. Like I said, this has not been shot. One time even. Then I used a reamer. I did bore it a little bit, but I used a reamer to get my focus. Yeah, there you go. Look at that scoring. Yeah, so these rifle makers, these barrel makers, guys, are much better than me, okay? So this is the first port. Now we're into the second wall, the second port. What I do is I drill, bore, and then I ream after I put these slots in to take care of that burr. So I'm not sure if this is caused from the reamer, but this is bored 20 thou over bullet. So yeah, you can see my tool marks there. That light's so bright it's creating a little bit of a reflective spot. So I'm going to take this light and turn it down. It's just going to show just how ugly my machining is. So that's a lot of porous area to hold a lot of carbon, a lot of debris and stuff, okay? Now we're just going into the actual inside of the muzzle brake. And here's this little space in between that I give it, where it jumps from the muzzle end, where the crown's at. This had a crown. This is like their threaded wall, or my threaded wall, I'm sorry. And here's my muzzle brake. So, wish we could see up in behind it, but we can't. So, like I said, this gun, 300 rounds, it has probably been cleaned in the last 60 rounds, maybe 100, if we're lucky. Turn the light up a little bit. But this gun here is a lot higher pressure than all these guns. Here's my crown. Now this is an Excalibur barrel. So this is a custom barrel built for me. It looks like they did a pretty good job so far, just on the crown here. The barrel's got a nice shine to it. Kind of reminds me of that FX barrel. Those are nice barrels. I don't know if they hand lap it or what they do. My Bergara is a nice barrel too, but I didn't quite see the shine that I do on these, but you can see that color right there. It just looks like a lot of copper mix. But the barrel doesn't look dirty. I mean, there's debris, but this has sat in the closet for months. You can mostly see that right up here on the rifling where it protrudes and is pressing into the bullet, so the bullet's really getting dug into that. If I remember correctly, this is a 24-inch barrel with a 2 or 2.5-inch muzzle brake on it. So we're going to be right at our max length here for this bore scope here. Going to kind of go more towards the chamber area, kind of quickly here. The playback on this is relatively smooth. There's not like a lot of glitching or anything, but that's probably all due to my laptop. Okay, so here we are right in the chamber area, 308. Let's see, we've got our throat area. We've got our throat area here. There should be a lot of heat coming up through here. I'm not blocking you with my head, am I? I probably am, sorry. But that's their tooling marks, so that kind of makes you feel a little better. And if we had a crack in the barrel, we'd be able to spot it. not seeing a whole lot of, I'm not noticing any fire cracking or anything. But this doesn't got a lot of rounds through it. And this right here is probably just the little neck of the cartridge, and this little spot here is probably going to be the smooth part where you actually get your neck depth or length. Yep, so now we're looking into magazine well, now we're into the chamber a little bit. That right there has got to be the smooth part where your 308 neck's up against, okay? The cartridge neck's up against. It's going to be on an angle. Looks like it is. And just a little piece for the brass, and then there's where your bullet goes. So coming right out of the muzzle, we're not seeing a lot of burning marks, but you know, without this camera, I wouldn't really know what it looks like. And honestly, it wouldn't have mattered enough to me because I haven't bought one yet. You know, if you guys can think of a better reason to have one of these, I'd like to know, because I'm not trying to be ignorant, I just don't know. It's good to educate yourself, I believe. I believe education is great. So the question at the end of the day is this borescope right for you guys? I don't know the answer to that, but what I do know is it is right for me. It works for me. I've learned a lot by owning it, because I would think this gun here should be cleaned before I take it out to the range. And after reviewing it with the borescope for the first time, I have changed my mind. The gun looks great. There's no powder fouling or no loose debris down there really. Maybe I'll run a patch through it just because, but I don't see a need to. Everything looks great. There's talk about copper equilibrium and all that stuff in order to have like consistent speeds and pressures, because you don't want too much or not enough, because then you have to recoat the barrel, or it might even add some drag to your bullet if you have too much. You know, so how do you know how much is right? Well, that borescope, you start chroning your guns, shoot them through a chrony, you find that optimal velocity after X amount of rounds maybe, or after years of owning it. Then you start noticing your accuracy go downhill. Well, you run your borescope through there, and then just like I showed you guys, you take some pictures with your laptop, and then you can compare photos of what your bore looks like, and you know when to clean it next. Do you use copper stripper, copper solvent, this time around, or do you wait till a couple more thousand rounds? Those are all things you're gonna have to spend time, do the legwork on, and talk to pro shooters that know what they're doing. I don't really have a lot of experience in that area. With this 22 LR, because I shoot it a lot, I believe I had a carbon ring at an earlier point, probably right around 2,000 rounds. I noticed my accuracy went downhill. I did not have a borescope at the time. I could not confirm what was causing it, but I cleaned my barrel and it went away. So it would have been nice to have a tool like that to know what to blame, because you can blame yourself, you can blame the gun, and it could be both, but without a borescope, you don't really know what the problem was. And this gun here, noticed the accuracy issues I was having, and ran the borescope through there, and I seen I had lead stuck to the barrel. That's definitely going to cause some accuracy issues, because now my bullets are flying down there, they're hitting that piece of lead, probably causing them to pull it with them, adding a drag on one side or the other of the slug as it's going through the barrel. Could be destabilizing them coming out of the muzzle, because all the lead's right up there at the last inch. It could be adding it to the slug, so now it's got that weight off one side. It could be doing all types of stuff. I don't really know. But now I know there's an issue. I have to take this barrel and clean it really, really well and try to get that out. I just thought maybe the regulator couldn't keep up, or it was my ammunition. I had all these thoughts, but now I know there's something wrong with my barrel. We'll start there. So this borescope can educate you. A borescope can educate you. I know a lot of other people make them. I've never had any experience with any other brand, so I can't tell you pros and cons of owning this over another one. But I will say I recommend it. As far as what it does very well. I think the focus works excellent. I think the light is bright enough. There's enough adapters to get your common calibers. I couldn't do any 177 caliber barrels or my 17 HMR, which I was a little disappointed, because my 17 HMR I shot a lot growing up, and it was one of my first rifles, and I don't think I've ever cleaned that, so I'd be curious to see what condition that barrel's in. But I'm sure you can find adapters, or find another company, and even this company may sell a 17 HMR borescope, but this particular model does not offer that. Hookup is super easy, especially if you have an Android phone. Right off the bat, you can plug it into your USB-C port. A couple cons, if I may. I do not like the focus being so far forward. When you're getting it into your barrel, yes, you have plenty of time to get it focused, but there's times when I get down to my chamber spot where that opens up a little bit and you want to see something, so you want to start fine-tuning this. Well, you can't because you have to pull back out of the barrel. Now you can always go the other way and you'll be right in your chamber area and probably still be able to get to this, but then you're trying to fight and get your fingers in this little area. It's not end of the world at all. It's not a make or break, decision. It really isn't. But it'd be cool to see a version where this focus is moved back here or even over here somewhere where you can get to it pretty easily while you're down the barrel, because there's some things you just need to readjust for. I know I kind of knocked the threaded part earlier because of it possibly creating a break in that, and I do see that happening. I don't know how soon, because I'm not going to be using this daily, but per se you were a gunsmith and you needed to use it daily, that would probably happen sooner to you than me, obviously. That's really about it. The length, 26 inches is good enough for a lot of people. It really is. Now you add a muzzle brake onto a 24-inch barrel like I did and you barely have enough room, okay? You can take your muzzle brake off, yes. A 28-inch would probably be even better, but you're always gonna find somebody that has a 28-inch barrel or 27 or 26 with a muzzle brake that it ain't gonna work for either. So you can't please everybody. 26 will fit a lot of people, a lot of different rifles. The way it connects and hooks up, everything's very easy to do. It's not very complicated, it's very user-friendly. And I like having this measuring scale on the back. I thought it was kind of a gimmick when I first got it, but just like now, seeing that lead up in that end, I know how far down the barrel. If I wanted to take a Q-tip or something soaked with some lead remover, I could, now I know how deep I need to stick that plug and let it sit in my barrel. If there's a spot that was really bad, because the rest of the barrel looks pretty good. It just kind of helps. It's not a make or break thing. It's just a nice little feature. I like the fact they give you several different adapters to use for different calibers. It's not caliber specific. I know they're available on Amazon. I will probably link them down below in the description. I make no money off this product. I don't have affiliate links to give you like I mentioned earlier. This is just strictly me doing a review so I can keep this, and I've always wanted one. I'm not being biased in any way, shape, or form. I do think they're great. If I were you guys, talk to a professional shooter if you guys know of any, and they can probably give you a lot more ideas and tips on what to be looking for when going down your barrels and why it's important to own one of these. But this is just based off of what I know. So I have learned a lot owning it. I will say I definitely recommend it to any gun owner. Also wanted to give a shout out to Teslong for supporting me with that digital borescope. Always wanted one, so thanks to you guys for supplying the channel with one. We'll be using it in the future. All right guys, so we're wrapping this up, just some food for thought. I do have some more content coming, some hunting footage. I've been building up slowly. I've actually been kind of busy here lately with cutting wood, getting ready for winter and other stuff. I'm actually a little behind on that. But I actually have another company that I'm working with that I will not reveal who or what, but I will be showing you guys that hopefully very soon. And we will not be doing a review on it quite yet, but I will be showing you guys what it is, and hopefully some more hunting footage as well. I've got some other guns will break out for some hunting footage. Kind of excited about that. I know most of you guys are air gunners, but I think we need to bring out some big caliber guns again and start doing some long range stuff. I really want to get good at that. And even just take the 22 out. My 22 gets neglected over this little air gun sometimes. But stay tuned, I got a lot of stuff coming. This gun here, if everything goes well, we'll be getting a facelift very soon. If I remember, I will try to post it on my Instagram. I always link my Instagram in the comments. You guys can follow me there to kind of get some updates on the channel. I'm terrible at posting on social media, so you guys can follow me there. You will at least see most things before YouTube does, if you guys just can't wait at all, which I can't imagine anybody's that excited. But you can follow me there and see what's new coming for the channel. So thank you guys again for your time. I really do appreciate it. Consider Teslong for you guys' borescope needs if you guys are interested in buying a borescope. I did look this up. This is roughly $100. That's not a ton of money to get yourself a decent quality borescope. I'm not sure what everybody else runs theirs at, but that's a good price to get started for something that can do a lot of guns. So thank you guys for your time. Please remember to like and subscribe. And if you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments and I'll try to answer them as best as possible. Thank you guys. Have a great day.